Previously on the Party Poker Live big game, things started badly for Tony G.
Oh my God, he's hit the nuts.
He's
Holy cow.
And
Tony, if you look closely, you can see the blood trickling down from Tony G's nose.
And then got worse.
Say Tony G is on the verge of being back.
Oh my
No, it
God.
wasn't. No, it wasn't.
On the 10 on the turn. This is the second time tonight this has happened to Tony.
He is wounded.
It's not been his night so far, but things can turn quickly at this table. Biggest pot of the night so far is 157,000 euros. Guess it was on the wrong end of that one.
Graveyard on your bike. G, 200K, stuck. Wheels are off.
Yeah, you gotta feel for the big Lithuanian, 200,000 euros in the red, but he still got the heart of the lion, people. Still got the heart. Big winner on the night isn't on the table right now. Leon Sukernik was over 180,000 euros up when he fell victim to the public vote-off, a feature of the game here in Razvedov. It's Pot Limit Omaha to begin with before we eventually, well, we're scheduled to finish 36 hours after we started before we eventually move to No Limit Hold'em. Yes, people expect fireworks. Commentary comes from yours truly, Jesse May, and Isildur enthusiast, well, aren't we all, James Dempsey.
Probably my favorite story of, well, in the whole history, or the whole growth of online poker was the Isildur story. It really did change everything.
Well, for me too. I mean, like, you know, when he was just taking everybody on heads up. I mean, Isildur was seminal.
He just played everybody at any game, any number of tables, anything. And like you say, no stats, didn't care about that sort of stuff, just played. Sheer gamble, always only ever run it once.
And there was a good couple of years where nobody knew who he was, which was even more exciting for the mystique.
It's funny because he'd obviously been around. If you look back, he'd been around for a lot longer than that. It wasn't like he just suddenly started playing. It's just his run at the high stakes stuck this time.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was that few month period where he was crushing.
7 call and 1 call.
And that was probably during the time when you were just starting to play, you know, 100 hours a week online. So, well, I mean, it was, right?
I was early. I was an early bird. I was playing online poker in 2002. I started.
Thank you. 4 players.
And like everybody else, I wish I played more back then. Sam with the 3 aces in his hand. Does have the ace of diamonds. He wants to
Oh, don't do it, Sam.
He's got a
really.
blocker to the straight and he's got a blocker to the nut flush draw. He wants to have some fun.
We
That's what
saw
happened to Isildur with top set.
Yeah, and we saw Tony G play top set of 8s, very aggressive in this position earlier.
I don't think when Sam's betting out here, there's no way Isildur can really raise Sam. As lots of ways Sam can have 5-7.
I mean, how often is it 5-7? It's 5-7 a lot,
Yeah,
isn't it?
especially when you're holding 2 8s in your hand. There's not a lot more he can be betting out with.
One call. 6 2 4. 3 players.
This is going to be interesting now if the diamond does roll off.
New.
A good thing for Sam is it gives him more credence when you do bet the bare ace 3-way because people think you're less likely to be bluffing when there's 3-way in the pot. It's immaterial here. Isildur with the nuts. Top house and a blocker to quads.
And is this a case of your Isildur where you might underbet the pot, or do these guys mostly think consistent about just betting pot, pot, pot?
Oh, for sure, you bet smaller here. It'd make no sense to bet bigger. I mean, problem is having the 6, you block them having everything themselves.
Right, you want to get called by exactly what the wolf has, which is a flush draw, drawing dead.
Obviously, he's thinking there's a good chance Sam swapped the straight. That's where he's thinking he's getting action from in this hand.
4 4.
There you go, Isildur.
Unfortunately, not as big a pot as he would have liked, but, well, every little bit helps. So here are the biggest hands of the night so far, and yes, Tony G has funded most of them. That's real money there, folks. Leon Zuckernick voted off, but scheduled to be back once we switch the game to No Limit Hold'em. He's had a good night, as this table indicates. Rob Young's big win in that pot there came courtesy of Sam in our second program, while Trickett himself picked up close to 60K in a pot for Isildur.
Yeah, I'm done for you.
No.
Ay.
Build up. Just a pot builder.
No more four straws.
Wow, and he's straddled to 800.
Oh, this
finds
game's going to
aces.
get really big. This is going to get
Now
really
let me
big.
know.
Isildur with a nut ace. Wow, Rob with a real hand. Well, realish hand.
So
Very real hand for
Rob's
Rob.
going to raise and get
Yep.
3-bet.
Rob's going to raise. Isildur will be calling. No. That's me trying to guess.
Harry Potter.
Your name's Harry Potter.
Why does he call Rob Harry Potter?
Again.
Putting the like this. Don't need to make it.
No, you have to.
I asked him, telling no, you don't need it now.
Wow. The flop for Rob.
Just all four over?
Yeah, he told me.
7, 9,
okay.
10 or queen for the nuts.
No, in Sochi they make like this.
Is this called the super wrap or the super duper wrap?
Nearly the super duper. It's good enough that you see, although he's only got king high 51% equity. Now, this would be a great spot for a raise.
Well, I mean,
given-
knowing that it's the wolf, would you rather
Oh,
do it
my
on the
friend.
turn, or is it fine now? Yeah?
I'd want to raise now. He's,
If you will fold, I,
I mean,
will
he
show you one
looks like
time.
he's got a big pair pre-flop. Almost, probably aces given you've got king queen in your hand.
You don't want to see it.
I really want to
You
fold.
want to pay for it.
All right.
He wants to play, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
It's hard for the wolf to continue if he check
Let's
raises.
play.
That's the point.
because he's pretty deep back.
Yeah.
I mean,
card on the
it
box.
could go pot
Again?
here.
I don't know.
Why? I put it twice on the box.
If it comes a black card,
Okay, now it's okay.
Now it's okay?
Yes, now it's okay.
See, the thing is, if Rob check raises, he can still win it on all turns that don't actually improve his hand.
Right.
If he does get called.
6-5 check. 25,000. Sit one
If
bet.
you will fold, I will show you.
Deja vu.
I will keep my word. Ah, he don't want to fold.
5
Wants to pay to see.
He don't want to fold.
this is going to be, I mean, obviously, if it comes a club and completes the straight,
10
it's
of
going
clubs,
to be, yeah.
the killer card. If the wolf thinks about it, what if he had Jack 8, he probably raises me on the flop. So you've got Jack 4. Probably raises him on the flop anyway. On a broken board.
So you consider this a bluff that makes sense, that doesn't make sense?
Correct. I mean, again, we're saying this, seeing the cards, but if I'm in the wolf shoes here, there's no way I'm folding to that bet. He
want him
knows
to win a pot
what the
too.
wolf's got. And he doesn't.
No,
he
but
thinks he
you're a
doesn't think
generous
past that
man.
point.
After that, I
He knows the wolf
Why
has
you call
aces and won't call that
20,000?
river, even though it doesn't make any
I
sense. That's
have a rat.
But it's
you know,
also,
I
You don't have up and down.
we can't commentate on
No,
what they
no.
know and their dynamics that they've established.
Nine,
but I mean, it's a bit of threading the
And he
needle,
wants you
though.
to
I
win the
mean,
pot.
if
He's
you're
happy
watching this
for
game
you.
for
Yeah,
10
I'll
minutes,
be
you
happy
think,
to lose
I will
pot.
never
I
bluff
got
the
a
wolf,
bluff
I'll just get him to
for
pay me off. And then
not a
Rob
bluff.
finds a spot to
did you push
bluff
But
him.
like I
so-
said,
You
these
know
guys
you
have
want
played
to
a
win
lot
the
together,
pot,
the
so
wolf
better.
and Rob, I
It's
know
normal.
for facts.
That's the way to win.
Big stacks.
Ah, nobody.
It's not a bluff. It's just the way to take the pot.
H. Chen is one
friendly
chip,
way to
1
take the
euro.
pot.
No. The lowest denomination chip on the
If you
table
want
are
it,
the
you take it,
white
but he wants
ones.
to
They're
save the
worth
money for next pot.
100. The purples are
No
worth
better
500
than
euros
You save
each.
bullets. so you can
Yellows
fire.
1,000 and the greens
Always
5,000.
you
So
do,
there's
Just
800,000 or so in real money on this table.
Fuck.
This is a cash game.
What I see.
800.
Raise.
Yes, but these raise 800.
here we go.
So you are ready?
He's got aces every hand, it seems.
Yeah, yes. Stay
The wolf with a bit of steam raise there. 6-6-5 deuce double suited.
2.8.
Good wall chip.
2.8.
What?
2.8.
huge wall. It doesn't need.
Raising doesn't mean always pot.
I heard call.
Not, raising means like min raise.
I wouldn't show, but it's on the stream anyway, so.
You know what I mean? If you say raise, it's a min raise.
Not really, yeah.
No, of course not. But anyway,
Not really.
Whatever.
Rob's the master of these kind of games.
You felt it.
You're right.
Difficult call.
Difficult to call.
So John's
Impossible
3 bet.
to call. Impossible.
Aces. Sam
Very
Against
difficult.
this
with a
guy,
fairly nice
impossible.
hand. Like to obviously
Oh, you
change
know
one
what I
of those
mean.
hearts out, but Ace 10 8 7 position.
RBG cannot call.
Rob coming along with
can't
a
call.
sub-premium hand, but he's playing the rush on his button.
And
You can if it's
Tony
right.
just
Eight,
basically
eight, eight,
seeing an opportunity to get in the pot with those other
Can't
people.
call. Never call.
Yeah. Trying to flop
Can
an 8
never call.
opens good. And Ilzudo with a nice starting
Too
hand,
much. He
Queen Jack
wants to
10
save
8.
his money for the next train.
Needs sort of high one gapper.
Save
It's a good hand to have a multi-way pot.
Look at G's equity pre-flop.
Yeah. Well, there's no 8 left, so
Yeah, it's not good.
the hearts are
Spend it
covered.
all at
He has
once,
to hit
you know?
Jack 10 9. I think is the only way he wins the pot.
Mr. Blom.
Got a big
Or
wall,
some combo of
and then you destroy the wall with that. bet.
Queen 3.
He calls, destroys the wall. Now the wall is solid. It's the biggest wall there. Look at that, huge. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Six, seven, check.
So Sam flops top 2. The Wolf, an open ender, and a 6 high flush draw.
Which is the best flush draw in a six-way pot.
Yeah. Ilzudo with a sort of gut shot top pair, obviously all over cards, so he can improve to top 2.
Pot.
17,000.
There we go. Rob with top and bottom.
Four.
I mean, there's
And a gutter.
there's certain experiences when you're playing PLO that everybody knows about, and one of them is the obligation to kind of push top 2 pair at some point, even though you hate it. Is that right?
Yeah, you really do, especially multi-way pots. Because this is the kind of board, but there are no
Right.
safe turn
But
cards.
if you
That's a
don't, if
deuce.
you don't bet the top 2 pair now,
Well,
then everybody knows that you.
Unless
Yeah.
unless the turn comes a deuce,
Right.
his hand's so vulnerable.
Yeah.
It'd be different if Sam had maybe a gut shot with it. Maybe then you could check it. You know, there are some absolute gin turn cards for him, but can't afford to give a card here. But yeah, he can't afford to get raised either. So it's obviously a spot the Wolf should be folding. He's only got one nut card, the offsuit 3. But we know he's not folding.
Right, and if he could see the cards,
Why
obviously
am I
he'd
saying?
be right in there.
I said I was going to give up guessing what the Wolf's going to do.
You can't predict the Wolf.
Can't.
For John, though, it's been a 6-way pot.
No, I mean, he's got no hand. You know,
Nothing.
he knows
Nothing.
that flop. It was him dead. Change the deuce of diamonds to deuce of spades, and he'll have a go.
He's done with it.
Yeah, obviously, if the Wolf could see Sam only has top 2, then for sure he'd play.
Oh yeah, look at the equity he's got.
This is the interesting thing, and so many times, unlike in Hold'em,
One
you have
call.
much better equity than you think.
It's up.
See, he's got 50% equity, but a lot of the time he'll have, 15%.
Also, I mean, if you're Sam right now, you don't, like you said, you want to see a deuce. You know you want to see a deuce, but beyond that, everything else is scary, right?
It is, but when the Wolf's taken that long to call, you should know what the bad cards are.
And this would be another bet for you?
Yeah. I think you bet here, then the Wolf's almost certainly got a weak draw. I mean, again, doing this, we can see the cards. But you bet here, if you get called, then maybe, yeah, he's got 10-4 and he called. But you can't allow any mirror of the straight draws or flush draws to come in.
It is I think the funnest thing about Omaha is that, no matter how much a guy says he just wants to sit there and play tight and play the nuts, you do need to make marginal decisions.
Yeah. And and obviously a good bet size from Sam there. With any hand, he shouldn't be betting big there.
Ace alone. Ace.
Welcome back to Razvedov and the Party Poker Live big game. We're about 3 hours in, and so it's a good time to take a look at who's got what. No big winners, you'd say, but one big loser. Come on, Tony.
So, Sam Trickett is very close to even, if not winning slightly. Jan Peter Yakman's losing. Tony G is losing. Isildur's losing. Holy Toledo. The only winners at the table are the Wolf and the qualifier.
I think Leon was up quite a chunk, right?
Yeah, he was up
Who's
100.
straddling?
I want to.
You know what, Jesse? If I'm up 100, I don't mind getting voted off.
Three, four.
Race.
Raise 1,000. 6, 4.
Gross. Oh yeah, you're right. He does have 300 good. So we believe Rob Young's up about 60 then. He's in about 275 or 280.
6, 5,
So Sam with good aces there. Ace 7-6 with a suit. Rob's 3-betting with. He couldn't choose a worse hand to 3-bet Sam if he could see the cards.
8, 4.
I don't know quite about Rob's 3-betting 10, 10, 7, 6, but there we go.
2, go.
I don't know either. I mean, essentially all he's serving to do is isolate Sam, which
Can't be ways in the game.
Huh.
Interesting decision now for Sam whether he 4-bets or flats.
12,000.
and
So
the
the-
reason that you wouldn't is because you don't want to turn your cards face up.
Exactly that. He telegraphs. See, he took a good look at John's stack there before doing it as well. Whether he's hoping John will just punt it in now or not, but as we know, not a hand like Jan, and I can't see John doing it. But he kind of turns his hand face up, and now he's playing a big part out of position with a.
So I mean, great news for Trickett. That's what you want most to happen, is to reduce the field when you have aces, because
Sure.
your edge is much stronger against a single hand.
Like I say, Rob can bluff him on a lot of boards. So, this being one of them, if Rob's 3-bet and called a 4-bet, these are the kind of board he should be connecting with.
That's a big play, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, as we were saying, he knows Rob. I think he knows he can bet 14 and not get bluffed, I guess. But Rob with 2 10s in his hand definitely has. He could float there, bluff all the straights.
That's cool.
Still water.
That's
There's that
cool.
one, doesn't matter, just. That's okay, just give me that one. No one's drinking that.
There's some very good PLO players waiting in the wings around here. I mean, Antonius is around for starters.
There was a line outside the door. It was for the buffet. But
Nice straddle too.
32.
Han slår ju tåg.
To the G.
För det kan man se med...
I know Philipp Gruissem's around as well.
this is a game of everyone gets to go with the aces.
16.
Free hand. Ace is double suited for Jan.
3.2.
3.2.
Can do 3.5.
3.2.
First time now, we round up. 3-5.
3.2.
He wants as much money in blind as he can.
It's my best chance.
Wild more.
Go. 1.
Obviously, a completely different dynamic for Gary than anyone else at the table. He's got to make his 12 hours and have something to cash out with at the end. He doesn't want to put it all in.
He's the story right now. If you're sitting at home playing on Party Poker, because basically he's here by virtue of winning a raffle ticket that he got by making a $10 deposit, and he's actually, he's on a legitimate free roll for $1 million. You could win $1 million.
You could, for sure you can. And it's kind of fun because he's locked in to play for the 12 hours.
Yeah.
He can't. He'd probably normally be like, oh, maybe I should, I'll go and got 40. That's great. But he's forced to play. It's kind of fun. You could win $1 million. You're right. But yeah, interesting. Obviously, he's changing tack there. Just not even thinking about playing the king.
5-4.
You could fold, right? Save your money. Save your bus fare home.
Bus.
That's mine too, the 4.
Yes.
Okay, just do it later.
Yeah.
I think I should win this
1-4.
one, hopefully.
2 players.
So he's got it in pretty bad hand against aces. Anytime you've got an ace in your hand, you don't move against the
I'll
aces.
tell you,
You're in bad shape.
G started. Give me 2-1. I want G all day here for 2-1. Jan Peter's got some bad karma right now. I feel.
Ace is double suited, that's great. You have done no diamonds, right?
The truth is, I mean, as much as I like Yan, I really just want to see Tony win here because it's going to be a beautiful needle. This is one of Tony's best needling spots.
That's the dream card for him.
Yep.
Wow, here we go.
Here we go. Here's the needle.
8 or a diamond.
I know.
Look at Yan.
That is a dream window card.
Yeah,
You've got Queen 10-9 in your hand.
Yeah,
the
no,
there it
diamond.
is.
Get
One
shot
time,
in the
right?
head.
You happy for me?
I'm happy.
I know you're happy. 2 diamonds. I'm the best. Nearly a straight flush.
You're the best.
Imagine you had 40,000 more. That would be painful. Now it's like, it's a dessert. Just don't have to count it, darling. Why are you counting?
Okay, just for,
Unlucky,
for
Jan.
me.
It's a dessert for me. It's like jet fuel.
What? I thought you, earlier on it was just all the wages.
jet
How much
fuel.
money did you make in the last hour?
I made no money. I made no money. My money is like the energy, the great energy I have when I win a pot.
Yeah.
How do I make money?
What do you think's the worst needle? Is it Tony G, getting in your
just
face
asked for
loudly,
extra
or
credit.
is it the guy who quietly says "unlucky Yan" when he never means it? Like never ever
another
means
100.
it even a little bit.
No, I think, especially Jan Peters lost a few of these all ins. To be getting that would get me. That would get me a little bit hot.
Yeah, I knew he was going to lose that. I had to find someone more unlucky than me. He loves it.
He's got a nice big suite to go to.
Yeah.
You played good.
You love it, right?
Yeah, I'm happy for you. No, I mean, you deserve it.
For
You
me,
have
it's like 10% of
gamble.
refund.
you have to be lucky once in a while, so don't worry.
I tried. But that's what happens. You try. If you have more money than the other guy, you eventually win.
This is really the essence of Tony G. He's stuck
It's a beautiful
200K, but
bunny hand.
winning a 40K pot and getting to
Pure
rub it
bunny
in, the
against
pain
you.
into someone else,
I had
that
the
makes
ace
it all
here.
worthwhile.
Yeah.
All worthwhile.
Pure bunny.
This is like you said.
I
This is what he
know it
loves.
too.
Sorry, yes.
I love it. And I felt it. I felt the diamonds. You felt it too. It was obvious. All right, I sped up.
Someone's put 50p in him, didn't they?
Chipped up now.
16. Straddle.
Put a hole in the ground, lad.
Aye.
Put a hole in the
Straddles.
ground. You
I
drop
like
that.
this
Just
game.
rebuy for more and you get it back.
His phone charger.
So easy.
He loves it now.
There's nothing really like the straddle 3200, I'd say.
They got a small stack, really.
I'm not nothing.
What do you reckon the chance are we see some straddles around to the small blind in this game?
8 pounds.
Just all drivel.
Pot.
It's like a short stack in a tournament.
I mean, what is your strategic view on the straddles in this kind of game? Like,
6-4.
it's good in some positions, right?
Pass.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing when you've got certain players straddling and it's setting up for chain, and other players, someone gets the dream seat where they get the button when the straddles are huge. And, some people get screwed out. They're constantly playing out position, or they're the big stragglers on and not getting position on someone else.
So I think it's Isildur right now because
I think
the 4 of the 5
Yeah.
people
I can
before
power
him
the spot.
straddle every time.
That's right. Yeah, Isildur and Gary were the best seats there, 7 and 8. But in terms of strategy when you're playing, obviously it puts you in a really tough spot when you're in, the first 2 blinds.
I'm moving to a
First,
visa.
or the first 2 blinds in the straddle.
Like
In terms of what hands you can continue
not so
with,
much.
because by the time if one of the straddles does pop it up, it's so much by the time it gets to you. So you've really got to tighten up.
And you're
your
still
calling
in
range.
bad position.
And yeah, you proceed into the pot with terrible position.
Your position will never get better.
Wow, Rob, quads, thank you very much.
Ich habe auch keine 10 gegeben, weißt du, verstehst du?
Yeah, London's
Irgendwann
okay.
raus von 50, 60.
Tony G was
Nice, hectic,
gutter.
something
Ich habe
relaxing.
1000 kreditiert, okay? Und das ist halt einfach nur kein Problem.
Yeah, yeah. I used to like
The Wolf obviously raised up 3 and he's trying to rep that he's got a big pair here.
Kind of, don't really go out that much.
Dann rufst du mal den langen
I'm
auf,
married.
das gibt, hat das Geld.
Boring.
14,000.
Yeah, yeah.
50, der wird auch von hier.
Sorry?
Go to Ibiza and watch the sunset.
Yeah. That's more fun.
Bit of party every now and then. It's good. Nice restaurants.
6 pass.
Is the Wolf a guy who might empty it out here, or do you think he's
up.
virtually done with
No,
it?
I think it was a fire once.
And you? Where do you live now?
Stockholm.
Again,
Obviously, he's
I'm
got a heart draw.
I
Yeah.
keep saying this. I'm gonna stop guessing with the Wolf.
No, I like it. I like making.
5 bet. 20,000.
Again, Rob making a 1/3 pot bet here.
It
Just
is.
allows the wolf to maybe proceed if he has an overpair and a flush draw.
But
that's the only hand he's getting action. He block. You know, the wolf can't have anything else other than an overpair and a flush draw. It's going to continue. So I like the bet.
you do, but you wonder that metagame. I guess if he doesn't bet, then the pot can never get huge. But because he bluffed him last time on the river, it would seem like, I don't know, check once, bet pot river, you're going to get called by almost everything.
Here we go. But he's obviously not expecting Rob to bet.
Right.
You know, a nutted hand. Like, you wouldn't expect him to bet quads, I'm guessing. It's worked. He's got the wolf to put some money in.
Rob's looking like one of those guys who just absolutely knows how to play his man.
If you look, the wolf's only got 60k back with 90k in the pot.
He's nearly got a call. If it hits a heart.
He's hit a heart.
One check.
Thing is, though, it still is in your 10 high flush.
Oh, sorry. Rob's in position. Of course he bet the turn. Sorry. I thought he was out of position.
One call, all in call.
Wow, no time wasted calling with 10 high flush.
Jesus.
Sick.
And that is kind of the strategy about playing a guy like the wolf.
Yeah.
Nut him up.
And that, my friends, is what a 200,000 euro pot looks like. Painful for the wolf, but he'll bounce back. Well, to see just how, join us after this break. Welcome back to the King's Casino Razvedov, where we have just seen the biggest pot of the night so far. Rob Yong, the beneficiary, hitting quads against the wolf.
I have to say, I'm loving Rob's shirt. RVG.
You got 100 for me? 100?
Oh, it's Rob Van Gerwen now?
Yeah, it's going to be Rob Van Gerwen with that shirt on.
Just bring me 100.
Small, big.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, even though the wolf has just lost like a 400k pot, he's only stuck 20,000 on it.
It's a problem, but
Yeah, he was on a big spin up.
Yeah.
No, but you can lean a little.
Second biggest winner at the table.
But then I have to make like this.
I know, yeah, all right.
Rob Yong quickly ahead
Rubbing Yang's
200k.
elbow and Rob's elbow every 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know you should keep nudging me.
Straight around against Isidore. Nice hand. Queen's double with an ace.
Why is that?
Because
7 raise, 3,000. 3,000. One re-raise,
your
10,000.
stacks are so wide.
There we go.
Oh, so small shit.
This is kind of what the game needed.
Don't need as much elbow.
Not that they needed much, to be fair, but in that scenario was Wolf getting behind.
So
what can I do? Not flush.
I think a fairly interesting question about how Isildur is going to read that re-raise for the wolf, because not totally out of the question for him to try and move chips in, or would you never do that with the ace queen queen?
No, this is definitely a really interesting spot for Isildur. He's seen some of the hand the wolf's turned over.
Right, and I mean you would never 5-bet with 2 queens, but in this spot.
But this spot against the wolf, when you've seen the hands he's been turning over, and he's just got stacked, it'd be very, very tempting.
I think he's going to pull the trigger. He's Isildur.
Of course, it's a hand that plays really well post as well. He can flat, and he does well on a lot of flops. So there's an argument for flatting as well, but I'm for sure seeing what the wolf's just done, he's only got 45,000 to start the hand. I think he's got to go for it.
What do you guys think watching?
Here we go.
PLO geniuses.
It's
a re-raise.
It's a huge difference having an ace in his hand.
28,000.
So, interestingly enough, he's got equity here to call. I mean,
well,
it's
this is Omaha.
But, right.
If you've got a suited ace in your hand like a hand he does,
right,
and you can make straights both ways.
So I mean, if you're getting 2-1, are you nearly almost always calling pre-flop in these kind of spots?
The problem is,
all in.
You're always getting 2-1.
Yeah, you're getting 2-1, but the way you proceed post-flop, that hand, you don't know what the good flops are.
19, 19,
and as it happens, Isildur's found a great flop.
Jack, I win.
10-5 jack.
10-5 jack. Now it's
king.
Fini.
You have king.
What do you mean, ace?
King, okay.
Bit of a double up there for Viktor Blom.
15,800.
Is everybody else thinking this is now the beginning of the end for everybody else at this table except for Isildur? Interesting to see. How much is the Wolf down at the moment?
Yeah,
I believe
too many
he's
chips.
about
70K.
75, yeah, 70K.
I think he lost 42k, 48k in that pot and a 20k buy-in, so 68k down.
First level 8.
Okay, Gary's got the aces. Shout out to 800 in front of him. I like this game. Gary's just flat called. If you're gonna, for two reasons. Number one, you got the Wolf behind you, raising every hand. But also, he should play all his hands as a call.
Right.
He completely mixes his range up.
Yep.
Is it 8?
Please, cards box.
Yeah.
Thank you. 4 cards. 1, 1.
You must play like this?
No.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you know, as a guy, Gary, who plays 1-2 PLO cash games every day, or at least
4, 5.
quite seriously, beats the game, he's got the skills to play here.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
for
like
sure.
that the way he's playing the aces,
Yeah.
that's very sensible.
Yeah, he's obviously thought about the strategy a lot. What to do in this game. Because even when he knew he was going to play a 100 game, he must have thought, okay, 20k, I've got 200 big blinds, it's quite deep. It's not in this game. It's,
Right.
You know, it's nothing. As long as, okay, Sam's flop trips. But trips with 3 back kickers. Although obviously with a 3 on the board, if it hits one of them, it is the nuts. Rob's just texting someone to double a guarantee.
Pass.
Okay, guys, I'll see you later.
Leaving?
8 call. 1 pass.
Who said that?
2
Rob
pass.
is off.
Heads up.
I think he's just going for a
You want
nap.
to let others win a little bit as well,
Of
right?
course, yeah. Oh no, he'll be back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to get up in the morning.
Back?
Gary
No, I
continued
don't
on
fancy
that flop.
playing anymore.
Not quite sure. Always hoping for that Sam's bluffing in an 8-way pot. But interestingly, it's hard for Sam. I don't think Sam should bet now. It's like he's reaching for chip, but it doesn't make much sense to bet now.
4 bet 6,000.
He's betting half pot, but Gary's got a king.
Right.
Sam's behind. So that 6k there from Sam is definitely a blocker. He's trying to see a river against what he thinks is actually a better hand. As it turns out, he wins the pot.
Who is the Swede? Says John.
That's mine.
No.
Well, I think he may have the Swedish flag, but I think he lives down here. I think he's what they call a local businessman.
2-4.
Auto straddle.
First level. No. 100.
400,
2,
that's
4.
right.
And Rob Yong going to take his.
112 here.
Oh, it's nearly a 300,000 euro win.
Oh, was he up?
Oh, sorry,
175, I think. Yeah, close to 200k. Not bad.
Yeah.
Wearing the shirt well.
I'm just above even, and they all start chirping all the time, getting me bad reputation.
Must be. I have to buy one of those shirts. Every time I see a guy in one of those shirts, he wins.
Shirt like a champion.
Sam, you're the worst from my all into games, you are.
Well, I mean, the figures are all on the screen, mate. I don't think you're getting away with this one. All I'm saying, you can say now even. I don't think you're going to get away
Wow,
with it.
two players with the
I don't think
aces.
you get away with it this time.
2 players with aces.
Yep, Jan Peter with ace king 8 with a suit.
I'm having fun.
John with ace queen 7, also with a suit but non-nutted. Rob's going to play kings on the way out the door.
Are killing us. Yeah.
Tony G with a nice hand, queen jack 10 8.
I mean, I think
This could be a huge, but if this comes around, because John's going to, these two are going to put their aces in, and then if you kind of know they've got aces, then Tony G's hand's huge.
How much money can Rob Yong lose in his getaway hand?
I don't know what Rob's doing here, popping this up with, bad kings, and not a single suit. When Jan Peter's the one 3-betting, he's, I don't know what he's doing.
15,500.
See, these two are going to be all in now.
All in.
They've all gone mad.
3 all
Everyone's
in.
gone mad.
I don't know what's happening here.
Everyone's gone
And
mad.
now, the one thing Rob
All in.
might do is rip it now, because he knows Tony won't have a better hand than him. So actually for the side pot, he
He's
should be
leaving, that's
potting.
why I want to make action before I leave.
It's a very good point. It's a very good
It's the one hand he knows for sure he is beating. There's no way Tony G has aces.
I'm not sure.
It's almost a case of building up a side pot, just try and get level in the pot.
How much
You
more?
have option to raise, yeah? You have option to raise?
Moment.
He raised with 56. How much he raised?
No, I rate
54. And he made
You made 18 something.
John is trying on behalf of Rob.
You can raise.
To find out.
You can raise if you want. And Tony's not going to fold this hand.
If Tony's
not
folds, I'll
folding.
get on my bike.
Wow.
Tony's in great shape. This is his favourite in the pot.
Ah, speaking.
Tony, absolute wonderful spot to be in.
Showdown, please.
So he is in great shape. Rob's in the worst spot. I guess there's a lot of splits out there between Jan and John and Jan.
Yeah.
I got aces.
Everyone have aces.
I got the best hand.
Yeah, I take your hand all day.
No one got hearts.
The thing is that you got all the blockers for the straights.
So 78,000 in the main, that's between all of them. The 100K side pot is between
That's the problem. What do
we need?
Rob and
444.
Rob and
actually, there's
Tony.
maybe two
No,
side
there's
pots.
two side pots.
Yeah, Jan.
You win the side.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of money in the pot. That's all we need to know.
Remember, I say this one.
Nine of hearts in the window is Tony G's card.
Spade.
Okay.
What do you get?
So a gut shot, backdoor flush draw.
Nobody a pair, no?
Nothing on that flop.
Nothing. Tony's got.
He's got gut shot. He's got the right. Here we go. That's the card he's after.
That's the nut card, right? That's the nut.
Well, I think the 7 would have been a
Master
nut
rat.
card, but
Oh yeah. So,
Yes!
spade.
You win side pot, Tony.
Yes.
You're a spade. Wow, it is. Okay, so it's a spade. So John wins the main pot with a flush, but Tony G wins a big side pot against Rob. And Rob does the best part of 100K after racking up his chips. Never play out of the rack.
no.
I have 31.5.
31.5.
I'm glad to hear you say that. It's an important lesson. It's an important lesson.
Yes.
The funny thing is, most people when they're leaving out the rack might have looked at King 10, was it King 10 deuce? No suits, and it's gone raise and 3-bet from 2 tight guys to your right. I think, maybe I'll just let this go. I've got chips in the rack. Rob's like, I could win another 100,000 on the way out. That'll make the sleep even better.
That's sick that he win with aces.
Welcome back to the Razvedov edition of The Big Game, taking place in the opulent King's Casino, a dramatic setting for some dramatic action. Before the break, we had 4 players all in and some good fortune at last for Tony G. He scooped up a side pot that improves his position now to only 176,000 down, and with 94,000 in front of him, still looking to make some moves. Not looking to make any moves anymore. Jan Peter Yakman is gone, losing 80,000, calling it a night. But not calling it a night, still Rob Yong.
There's so many lessons, big important lessons about cash games that you can learn by watching this. I mean, Rob Yong. I mean, there is, you never, when you're going to quit a game, never say anything. Don't say thanks, guys. Don't say I want to go. Don't say I'm hungry. Don't say I'm tired.
The only words you say are deal me out.
Yeah, just leave.
You are playing Bucharest. Sometimes we play from time to time with some Israeli guys.
Rob, it's on you.
It's a Israeli only.
He's straddling, right? I'm straddling too. He's straddling always. Oh, straddle.
He's the spitting image of Michael Corleone, John, isn't he?
16, 3,200 straddle. 7,000.
There we go, the 3,200 straddle.
Good game.
Of course, my friend, yeah.
Who put it on? Oh, Tony did, of course.
Pushkin.
1,000.
And you would have done that with that hand? Queen, queen, 4-5?
Yeah, I mean, if I know for sure I'm gonna see a flop for 32, then I might call. Just you know, if a flop top set, but there's a good chance you won't see a flop.
13,500.
There we go. Rob's pumping it up.
13,500.
How much?
13,500.
If I was Sam Trickett,
13,500.
Yes.
I would take Rob to the side and say,
My
Rob,
bad.
what are you doing? I'm like the best player at the table. You keep trying to isolate me.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Again, Rob's hand, you know, it looks really good, but it isn't a nut suit. You know, that's a huge difference for people maybe who aren't as proficient at Omaha to having the ace of diamonds or the king of diamonds in that spot. But still, it is a raising hand. You know, Tony G's straddled to his blind, and Sam's just come in for a call. So almost for sure you've got the best hand in that spot, and it's a hand that plays pretty well post-flop.
Right, and I think that is kind of what Rob's theory is. I mean, it's not about who and this. He just likes to play aggressively and likes to be the raiser.
If you play Omaha and you just play your good hands for lots of money, the rest kind of sorts itself out. Interesting spot here. Sam playing a bet with just the one blocker.
I mean, there's some greedy guys out there between Trickett and Tony as far as who wants to steal this pot.
Interesting spot for Rob because he's got the best hand you can ever have here, Ace King. There's no way he's checked anything better at any point. Yeah, I like that. It's a good
wow.
Call.
That's an insanely good call, right?
Very good call.
Good call.
He figures Sam's going to bet. I'm assuming his thought process is that I think Sam's going to bet any 3x hand on the turn and any full house. So really, it's only the straight he's losing to. It's only one hand. And he's he's underrepped his hand. It looks like he's got nothing. Maybe he's got 2 queens in his hand.
That's right. You're going to go all in with full house, aren't you? You're going to call this straight.
Ristreno 800, 1600 Ristreno. 7 pass.
I mean, if Isildur is ever going to find a time to make the 3200 from the button.
So Gary there getting tempted for half a second with kings, but sticking to his disciplined strategy.
Vanko, 2 pass.
I'm a big fan of Gary's right now. I want to see him win 300K.
He's doing this right. You think about it, if he's not straddling, he's paying 200 in orbit, and he's playing all these pots where there's a 3,200 out there dead. So it is, just be very patient. He's doing the right thing.
16 go.
Right, and he's still going to go broke probably 60, 70% of the time. But the 30% of the time he doesn't go broke, he's going to win 6 figures.
Yeah.
He's
going to play his hands in position.
Yeah.
Try and play in the smaller box. Okay, so Sam with top 2 and overpair. Rob with top and bottom and 4 high flush draw. What's the wolf got here? Not a lot.
6-7. 4 bet, 6-7.
It's another spot where Rob's got top and bottom. It's not a go against value hands, and he's got 4 high flush draws. It's not going against draws. So it's not a hand that has great credibility.
It
should be a fold.
But it's still in the upper 80% of flops, considering his starting hand.
Yeah, but this is the problem. Obviously, it's the straddle pop. This is the problem when you're playing these hands that just don't flop gin. 9, 6, 4, 3. They're on unless it comes deuce 5. As it happens, it's a hand he should be folding because he's got exactly 50% equity. But he doesn't know which cards are good.
Right. I mean, theoretically, he could even have to fold to a bet there sometime.
Oh yeah, if Sam bets out there, he should have it. I don't think Sam's going to trample off this one. Imagine, when Rob's called the flop and then check behind the club.
Oof.
5 bet, 4 bet, 20,000.
Now,
I mean, how many hands would Sam have played like this? Would he have actually played the queen high flush like this?
Maybe Rob's thinking he checked the nut flush because the board's so locked down by the turn. He doesn't think it gets paid by anything else. But it's a spot that is interesting because if on the turn when the turn's come club, the kind of hand Rob's going to check back are flushes. He's going to have a flush a lot. Yeah. If he has, say, a straight draw or some weird hand, he should just bet as the bluff because it looks like he's got the flush draw. So Sam's betting into a range here that does have a lot of flushes in it, albeit there's 4 clubs on the board, which makes Sam's bluff make a bit more sense. And he's got the queen of clubs himself. So
I mean, he's specifically trying to get Rob off a straight, is my guess.
Yeah, he doesn't want Rob to win with 9, 8, 5, whatever. Some hand where he had top pair and he's made a backdoor straight.
That is a 35,000 dust-off river bluff in the last 2 hands.
So good call from Rob there. He sits atop the money list, 123,000 ahead, along with John, Gina, Isildur, online qualifier Gary. They're all winning, but Trickett, the Wolf, Tony G, stuck right now. This big game's just getting started. And on our next show, the pots get bigger and bigger, and Philipp Gruissem, the man with the best mustache in poker, sits down.
Are you going to play nice or are you going to come out firing?
I pull some moves sometimes, you know. Anything can happen.
See you next time.
Everyone's a winner.